Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to Forgotten Weapons. Today we're taking a look at a real cool kind of a hybrid battle rifle here. This is a HAC-7 made by the Holloway Arms Corporation. These were released in 1984 and HAC went out of business in 1985, and there are only about 300 of them made. But they're a really interesting design with a lot of cool features. So let's start by going back into the shop, taking a look at the insides and exactly how this rifle works and why it's so cool. First of all, disassembly is very simple. We have one pin that holds the lower and the upper together, kind of like an AR. And by the way, everything disassembles on this rifle using a 308 cartridge as the tool. So I'm going to push that pin in. Comes out there. And then the rifle breaks open like this. The front pin generally stays retained. There's no need to take the front pin out for field stripping. I probably should have taken the magazine out first, but there we go. We'll get to the magazine in a moment. Now the lower assembly on a HAC-7 is extremely simple. We have this is basically just an AK fire control system. You've got two sears here, one to catch when the trigger's back and one to catch when the trigger's forward. Simple hammer. Very potent hammer spring there. The safety is also very simple. It's just a bar with a cutout. So when that cutout is down, it allows the trigger to be pulled. When the safety is in the safe position, there's no place for this bar to go. It hits the safety and prevents the rifle from firing. The magazine release is also AK pattern. It's just a big lever pushing in. If we take a look at the magazines, Holloway used an AR-10 magazine. This is an aluminum early waffle magazine, and they cut a notch out on the back spine to interface with that magazine catch. We have a normal one. So this is an unmodified AR-10 mag. This is one set up for the HAC-7. You can see all they've done is simply add a cut there. Those were reasonably available magazines at the time the gun was made. They're ridiculously expensive now, of course. So moving on, in order to pull the guts of the rifle out, we're just going to pull the charging handle back. We have a fully captive recoil spring, kind of like an AK. And then here is our bolt and carrier, also rather like an AK. The bolt is a two-lug affair, although it does rotate very much like a stoner. We've got this helical lug in there, and it disassembles like an AR. So we have a captive pin here, and that is what holds the firing pin in place. So this pin on the AR system, this is basically done with a cotter pin, which is easy to lose. On the HAC, that's a captive pin, so you can't accidentally lose it. Firing pin comes out, looks very much like an AK. Really, the only non-captive piece on this system is the firing pin spring, which will come falling out of here. There it is. That is easy to lose. Although, frankly, if you do lose it, it doesn't actually prevent the rifle from firing. Once the firing pin's out, then we can pull the cross pin out, the cam pin, and then we can pull the bolt out. Now this is a rather unique little piece to the HAC-7. And what this does is hold cartridges down in the magazine. So, if I put the bolt back in, you can see here that when the bolt lugs are vertical, which is how they're set up when the bolt's traveling and picking up rounds, there is a depression. The bolt is lower than the base of the bolt carrier here. So cartridges in the magazine had a tendency to, you could say, dolphin. They'd kind of do this sort of thing as they were struck front and back by the bolt and the back of the bolt carrier. And that would cause intermittent feed problems because you might end up with a cartridge pointing down when the bolt came to strip it up, and it would cause malfunctions. So what they came up with was this lug that rides under the bolt, like this, and provides you with a constant, steady level holding the ammunition in place. So, moving up to the front here, you can see this has a very short gas piston, especially considering the length on the handguard to get out to the gas block. If we take a look at this in context, you can see our gas piston only comes about halfway up the handguard. Holloway did that for an interesting reason. Let's go ahead and take the handguard off so you can see underneath. All right. So, looking under the handguard, you can see that the gas piston only comes up to here. There is a gas tube, very much like an AR-15 direct gas impingement tube, that brings gas from the port in the barrel here back to the beginning of the piston. And the reason for this was to reduce the mass of the piston and the mass of the gas tube. That it eliminates a little bit of weight from the design, and it also prevents you from having this extra weight up on the front moving back and forth and hindering your accuracy. So kind of a clever design there. Just one other look at the disassembly tool aspect of the design. In order to take out the front end of the gas piston, it again is set up to use a cartridge case as a tool. So we have a gas block, or a gas cutoff on the front, which is also operated by a 308 case. That allows you to use rifle grenades. This was designed as a military style rifle. And we also have adjustable gas settings. So you can change how much gas is actually run into the system. So if it gets dirty, you pull forward and rotate to change the gas setting. So as you can see, there are a lot of interesting features on this rifle. One thing I do want to show you here on the back side of the rifle, or the left side of the rifle, there's a big old hole in the receiver, and you can see the cam pin through it. The reason for that was a manufacturing issue. You need some extra space in this tubular receiver for the cam pin to go in, and in most cases that's done by milling out a gap. Well, Holloway decided that, and rightfully, that it would be cheaper to just cut a slot in the receiver and then put a cover plate on it, like that, which was a good manufacturing idea and saved some money. Unfortunately, the rivets that hold the cover plate on have a tendency on a lot of these rifles to basically wear out and fall off. And so this one, like many that you'll find, the cover plate has come off. So it wasn't supposed to come off. It wasn't initially intended to come off. It's just wasn't manufactured as well as it should have been. Unfortunately, while a lot of clever thought and serious hard work went into the design features on the HAC-7, it never quite got all the way through development. About 300 of these rifles were sold before the company went out of business, but they really needed to have more time to finish developing and tuning the rifle. We had quite a few malfunctions of several different types while we were shooting. We had failures to load, we had some failures to extract, we had failures to fire. 2 rounds we thought were duds that were in fact light primer strikes. So some other owners have reported having flawless rifles. Not many people have put very much ammunition through these. We only put about 40 rounds through, and we had somewhere in the order of 8 or 10 malfunctions during that time. So with a little more tweaking, this could have been a fantastic rifle.
It's a fairly light rifle, especially for a full-size 308, but the recoil is a little lighter than you would expect. The receiver on the HAC-7 is fairly long, longer than most comparable guns, and that gives it a little more chance for the bolt to decelerate as it's cycling. And even though it's got a pretty basic flat butt plate, it still has a relatively light recoil, certainly lighter than other guns like it.
So overall, the HAC-7 was really a combination of a lot of different elements from different designs. And Holloway did an extraordinarily good job of picking what to go in and what shouldn't go into the rifle. For example, the charging handle it's low profile, it's non-reciprocating, it's pretty easily usable, both from the right and from the left, like a Galil. The folding stock is simple and effective. The safety is properly designed so that when it's safe, it sits nicely under your thumb and you just flip it down to fire and you're ready to go. The sights are simple, but again, effective. There's a rear peep sight and a front post. The front is adjustable for elevation and the rear is adjustable for windage. Up at the front here, we have a gas block with 4 adjustable gas positions and a separate cutoff if you want to use it for rifle grenades. So you don't have to, if you go to fire a grenade, you don't have to try and remember what gas setting you were on. You set the gas and then you can turn the system on and off separately. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I would like to thank the fellow who sent us the rifle. You know who you are, and we really appreciate it. Tune back into ForgottenWeapons.com for more Forgotten Battle Rifles.
Ready, set, go.
It's odd.
Alright, just change. Ready, set.
Ah.
You okay?
That, yeah. Huh. That looks like a dud.
It does.
I thought this was pretty good ammo.